Hello. I would like to talk to you about Islam, but in particular I would like to talk to you about political Islam and explain to you why the religion of Islam is of no concern to you unless you're a Muslim. But let's ask a more basic question. Is there some way that we can use rational, fact-based reasoning on Islam? Because notice carefully that the current methods are very subjective. How do people learn about Islam? Well, they go to an expert, and this expert hopefully is a Muslim, and then they tell them what Islam is. But notice something. You get the answer about what Islam is depending on who you ask. If you ask a jihadist, you get one answer. If you ask a professional engineer at work, you get another answer. So this method is subjective. And I want to propose to you that there is a completely objective way to answer all questions about Islam. Now then, the most important question to ask about Islam is, what is Islam? No, it is not a religion found in the Quran. Well, a little of that's true. But actually, Islam is a complete way of life. It is a complete civilization. It is a religion, it's a political system, it's a culture, it's a civilization. And there's no act so small as a human being that Islam doesn't have something to say about it. So, what is Islam? Well, let's begin with what every Muslim knows. There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. This is called the Shahada. And where do we find Allah? Well, we find Allah in the Quran. But there's something peculiar about the Quran. It does not contain enough information to practice the 5 pillars of Islam. However, there's a trapdoor built into the Quran, and it's the 91 verses that say that Muhammad is the perfect pattern of a divine life. So, where do we find Muhammad? Because if we're going to imitate Muhammad, we need to know Muhammad. Muhammad is found in the Sirah, his biography, and in the Hadith, his traditions. So, Islam is the doctrine found in the Quran, the Sirah, and the Hadith. If it is in the Quran, the Sirah, and the Hadith, it is Islam. Equally important. If something is said to be Islam, but it can't be found inside the Quran, the Sirah, and the Hadith, it is not Islam. So, Islam is Muhammad and the Quran, or Muhammad and Allah. So if you're speaking with the voice of Muhammad or the voice of Allah, then you're talking about Islam. Now there's something sort of peculiar about this. The Quran and the Sirah, the Hadith are mostly about the non-Muslim, the kafir. Someone like myself and possibly you. The part that deals with the kafir is, I call it political Islam. Why? Because the Quran is defined as being completely outside of the religion. So if you're not a Muslim and the Quran is concerned with you, it's not because you're a Muslim, but because you're just a human being. Now then, ways to talk about religious Islam, you'll notice that it involves paradise and hell. Whereas the political Islam is about how to treat the kafir. And what does the Quran say about the kafir? That the kafir is lower than an animal, filthy, cursed, mocked, can be enslaved, tortured, deceived, and yes, even raped. My most unfavorite part of the Quran is the 12 verses that say that a Muslim is never the true friend to the kafir. Now then, if you're going to talk about Islam, we have to talk about the tricky part, which is the confusion, because everyone's heard this. Everyone's heard a good thing about Islam and a bad thing about Islam, and so the question comes up, what is the real Islam? Well, the clue is this. It's found in Muhammad's career. After he became the messenger of Allah, he preached the religion of Islam for 13 years in Mecca and converted about 150 people. Then he went on to Medina, where he became a politician and a jihadist. Now then, Muhammad preached the religion of peace and converted 150 people. But as a jihadist and a politician, he was a complete triumph. So, what is Islam? Well, it is the religion of peace and the verses of jihad. So that's what it is. It is both items. There's 2 Qurans, the Meccan Quran, which is very religious, and the Medinan Quran, written later, which is all about jihad and politics. Let's be clear. There is no jihad in Mecca, but 24% of the Quran written in Medina is about jihad. Jihad is a systemic doctrine. It is not about a verse or 2. So Islam always has 2 meanings, and this is very convenient because it gets what it wants. Now then, let's talk about jihad a bit because it's confusing. Jihad is not holy war. Jihad comes in 4 flavors. Jihad of the sword, speech, writing, and money. Now let's be clear. Jihad does not mean war, it means struggle. Jihad uses pressure in all areas: food, migration, headscarves, education, and the fact that you're not allowed to criticize Islam. So jihad is pure political Islam. Jihad is political action. designed to install a new civilization based on Islamic principles, Sharia principles. So, there is an objective way to talk about Islam as long as you're listening to one of two experts, Muhammad or Allah. Islam is both the religion of peace and the politics of jihad. Which one is the real one? They're both equally real. The religion of Islam is only important to Muslims, but the politics of Islam are important to all peoples. My advice to you is don't discuss Muslims, but instead talk about Muhammad and Allah. We're involved in a civilizational war. Our civilization is based on critical thought and a unitary ethic. The unitary ethic is that all people should be treated as equal. Islam does not have those two principles. It has the authoritative thought instead of critical thought, and it practices dualistic ethics instead of unitary ethics. The ethical system depends on who you are as to how you're treated. We can and must defeat political Islam. The religion of Islam is of no consequence to you unless you're a Muslim. This is a war of ideas and civilizations, and there can be no compromise. Our very existence depends on asserting our ideas and our ideals. Thank you.